World War Hulk. A story where Hulk comes back from the planet Sakaar to take his revenge upon the heroes of Earth for booting him off-world. This is a fan-favorite story that many people want to see adapted into live action, possibly becoming part of the MCU, and becoming one of the best Marvel events that comes to the big screen, which could also become one of the MCU's best stories. But I really don't think that's gonna happen. In the state that the MCU is in right now, I really don't think it's happening. I mean, they could bring Hulk back on track with Spider-Man Brand New Day for sure, but I think it's a bit too late in the game for our real Hulk to come back. Since apparently they're gonna reboot the MCU after Secret Wars, and if they do and try to adapt World War Hulk, I really don't think they can do it still. And in order to understand World War Hulk, we really gotta talk about Planet Hulk for a little bit. We did get some kind of adaptation of Planet Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, but Hulk was more reduced to more of a supporting character. Now don't get me wrong, I still really like Thor Ragnarok. It's probably one of the better movies in the MCU. It also helped a lot of people really like Thor even more. But one thing I cannot get behind is how they butchered Planet Hulk. Cause Planet Hulk is such a good story, man. And they've changed so much in Thor Ragnarok that it's not even Planet Hulk at that point. If I'm being honest, it's more like a Planet Thor movie now. Okay, now what really is the story of Planet Hulk? Well, the story is about Hulk being sent away by a group of the smartest heroes on Earth, which are called the Illuminati, or also his so-called friends. And the ones that were involved in this were Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, and Black Bolt. Hulk was then landed on a planet called Sakaar, which was ruled by the Red King, a tyrannical ruler and dictator who isn't afraid to kill an entire settlement filled with families and children for his own personal gain. And he does this so with the use of biological warfare, sending out parasites called spikes. And these parasites latch onto any organic host, which turns them into like a monster that's like a mixture of a necromorph from Dead Space and the Flood from Halo. The Red King would unleash the spikes onto a settlement or city, which would create conflict, and would allow him to come in and save the day, which would make him appear as a hero. Hulk was quickly enslaved whenever he first landed on Sakaar. As he became enslaved, he became a fighter in the Red King's Coliseum. He first started out refusing to fight for others and refused to make friends or allies on Sakaar, because all Hulk wanted was just peace from all the experience and treatment he had endured on Earth, and the betrayal from our heroes. But as Hulk spends more time at Sakaar, he's forced to work with a group of fighters that would be known as the Warbound. And the Warbound is such a good supporting cast for Hulk, cause these were real homies that the Hulk really needed. These were Hulk's real friends, and they actually understood Hulk more than anyone else could. Cause they were all monsters in their own way, just like Hulk. They've all done bad things or made big mistakes in life, which would either have them be rejected by others or be seen as monsters by others. Meek, one of Hulk's first friends on Sakaar. Meek was forced to be an outcast because his family was slain by the Red King, and he was rejected by other hives because it was a taboo to be alone. Korg, he accidentally killed a friend whenever he first landed on Sakaar, breaking his promise of protecting them. Eloy, she was always betraying others to get into higher power. Brood, she had to kill her own newborn children to save another child. Hidoram, he disobeyed an order and he broke his war-bound oath by not being able to kill a child. And that child would actually become the Red King, which would kill thousands more. Like I said, each of the Warbound has done something bad or made a big mistake, leaving them feel rejected by others, kinda like Hulk was rejected by our heroes. There then comes a point where Hulk does start fighting for others once again, liberating people that the Red King had enslaved. And Hulk is just doing what he's always done on Earth, being one of Earth's mightiest heroes, saving lives. After dealing with the Red King, Hulk was able to finally find peace and rule Sakaar and settle down with his new wife and unborn child. But that didn't last very long, as the ship that transported Hulk to Sakaar exploded, killing mostly everyone in his kingdom along with his new wife and unborn child. But that unborn child would come back as his son Scar, which they also pretty much butchered in the MCU too. And Hulk believed that the ones responsible for this explosion were the heroes that sent him there in the first place. Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, and Black Bolt, which then all leads to the story of World War Hulk. where Hulk returns back to Earth to get his revenge. And as you can see from the story that I've told about Planet Hulk, that is nothing alike to what you get in Thor Ragnarok. Alright, let's get into the World War Hulk discussion here. So, I have to say that Earth's heroes are just assholes. Specifically the Illuminati, Iron Man, Reed Richards, Doctor Strange, and Black Bolt. And you're telling me that none of these guys can help Hulk at all? Like, you got Tony and Reed Richards, the smartest men on Earth. Doctor Strange could probably pull some magic shenanigans that could probably help Hulk in some way. And Black Bolt, Black Bolt could do some Inhuman stuff. I don't really know what Inhumans can really do. I don't know too much about them. But again, these guys have the tools and knowledge to at least do something for Hulk. But all they could figure out was just send Hulk away to a peaceful alien planet that wasn't supposed to be Sakaar, and he was gonna have no contact with loved ones and friends from Earth ever again. Yeah, this was not the move, and y'all really had it coming for World War Hulk. Now, when it comes to live action adaptation, they could surely work around it and make it so that none of these heroes could ever make that same mistake. They probably want our heroes to look a bit more heroic in live action. That'd probably be the ideal move for Marvel. But that'd be getting rid of the whole point of the story of World War Hulk. It's supposed to be a story of consequence. Our heroes made a careless decision and brought our whole world in danger. It'd be a much different and darker story that Marvel Studios has been doing for a long time now. It's a story where no one wins at all. You could say the same thing with Infinity War, but Infinity War, there was at least a villain that won, and the heroes lost. You could say that this kind of story is a very depressing one, but I think a more depressing one is where no one really wins. Especially in the case of World War Hulk's story. There's not really a villain that's at play here, honestly. Unless you count the plot twist by the end of the story. But it's just heroes fighting each other. And it's definitely not like Civil War where both sides can be equally right. There's definitely a side that is more right than the other. In the story, on Earth's side of things, they lose because they failed to help a fellow hero out, or save him. And they lost the moment that Hulk came back to Earth for revenge. For Hulk, he lost because he failed to correctly grieve for the ones he lost, and instead taking revenge on the ones who did it. He also failed to hear out his friends about the truth, which all leads to the reveal that the truth is that it's been one of Hulk's war-bound members this whole time. Meek. Meek watched some of the old followers of the Red King put a bomb in Hulk's ship on Sakaar, causing the explosion, because he wanted to fulfill the prophecy of the Worldbreaker Hulk. And all this was another reason why Hulk lost, cause he trusted a friend that eventually backstabbed him. And this was a friend that really understood Hulk, and was one of the first warbound members he ever met on Sakaar. And it's like I said, the story of World War Hulk is a very depressing one. There's no victory, just losses. It's a story that can definitely make you feel pretty empty. But it's a story where you can learn a lot from. Take your time to grieve for the ones you lost. If there's no solution to a problem, don't give up. There's always another way, a better way. And finding a healthier way of coping with anger and mental health. There really is a lot of deep and emotional themes in this story. And I'm afraid if that Marvel ever does a live action adaptation of World War Hulk, they're not gonna get it right. World War Hulk is more than just an action-packed story. It's a very dramatic and a larger-than-life story. And quickly speaking of action-packed, another reason why they can't do it. Because the power scaling is absolutely crazy and the CGI budget is gonna be so high. Every time you turn a page in the book, there's literally fights and destruction happening left and right. It's gonna be a pretty hefty CGI budget for sure. Especially when it comes to Sentry's fight and Hulk's Worldbreaker moment. And Hulk's just basically fighting everyone in this story. There's a lot more at play here in the World War Hulk story. This story takes place in a time where heroes were already at each other's throats, which it does take place after the events of Civil War. This was also a time where the Avengers were also split into two teams. You got the New Avengers who were on Cap's side, which the team was mainly consisting of Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, The Thing, Wolverine, Ronin, Doctor Strange, and then you got the Mighty Avengers who are mainly on Iron Man's side of things. And this team mainly consisted of Iron Man, Ms. Marvel, the Carol Danvers Ms. Marvel, Wasp, Wonder Man, Sentry, Black Widow, and Ares. There's already been a lot of tension between these two sides for some time now. And with the addition of Hulk really coming down to Earth, it really adds a lot of fuel to the fire to what's really going on Earth right now. They've just gone through the events of the Avengers disassembling, the events of House of M, the events of Civil War, and now they're currently in the era where Iron Man is running things, being director of S.H.I.E.L.D., actively hunting down heroes that won't abide by the superhero registration. They can't adapt World War Hulk because there's just so much surrounding it in the actual source material. It's years and years of events building up to this point, and I don't think Marvel is capable of that anymore. I really don't think so. But that's why I want them to surprise me. I want them to prove me wrong, that they can actually do this. I really don't think Marvel and Disney is going to make our heroes look bad when they have to keep those deeper themes of betrayal and consequence, which what makes up the story of World War Hulk. And I don't think they're really going to be able to do some proper build up to World War Hulk, considering how this current MCU phase is right now. It's just all over the place. But I am very curious how they're gonna do Secret Wars and Doomsday, especially how they're gonna do Hulk and Brand New Day. And hopefully they've learned a lot going into this reboot of the MCU, because they're really gonna need to step up their game here. I really do hope that they can actually do World War Hulk correctly, but those hopes for it aren't really high for me. Hopefully Marvel and Disney move in a much better direction now, if they do completely reboot the whole MCU. And yeah, I think that's really all I have to say, so I guess I'll see y'all in the next video. I also hope they do you guys better in the reboot too.